Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right in and demystify the intense pressure you, as a factory manager, face with compliance audits. If you're operating in the global garment and footwear supply chain, well, you already know that keeping up with buyer requirements is tougher than it's ever been. We're going to position the Better Work program as your ultimate solution to handle all of this.
Now, the sheer scale of this program, it's staggering. Better Work is actively present in 11 countries across 3 different continents. So this isn't just some localized, small-scale initiative. It is a massive, cross-border standard that international buyers absolutely rely on to ensure ethical manufacturing. And that massive global footprint, it actually translates to active partnerships with 2,250 factories worldwide. That's a huge network.
But here is why that really matters to us. This program directly impacts 3.7 million workers. It's an absolute titan in the industry, literally shifting the needle on global labor standards and making the entire apparel sector way more competitive worldwide.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with what Better Work actually is, then compare it to other programs. After that, we'll break down the CAT assessment, look at some common compliance errors, go over how to prepare for success, and finally look at the real business impact.
All right, Section 1. What exactly is Better Work? Let's look at the tripartite model.
It's incredibly important to understand right off the bat that this is a joint program run by 2 absolute intergovernmental powerhouses. We're talking about the International Labor Organization, the ILO, and the International Finance Corporation, the IFC. It's designed not just to give you another audit, but to genuinely improve working conditions while making your business much more competitive.
You see, this isn't your standard commercial audit. It uses this really unique tripartite model. What that means is it brings literally everyone to the table, from the workers on the factory floor to the national government, all the way up to the global brands. Unlike independent audits where it feels like it's just you against the auditor, this structure ensures that workers, employers, and government regulators are all collaborating towards sustainable long-term improvements.
Moving on to Section 2. Better Work versus the others. It's time to navigate the alphabet soup of compliance.
When we contrast these programs side by side, you'll notice how Better Work is totally distinct. Thanks to its intergovernmental backing and focus on data transparency, it stands apart from things like WRAP, which mainly focuses on a 12-month certification, or SEMETA, which covers multiple industries through SEDEX. Better Work specifically targets the garment and footwear sector, and instead of just handing you a certificate and walking away, they publish data on a public transparency portal.
Now here is a super powerful strategy for you. If you have multiple buyers asking for a bunch of different certifications, build your factory's systems around Better Work's strict standards first. Why? Because it encompasses those core ILO standards plus local laws. So passing Better Work means you're practically ready for all the others right out of the gate. That's going to save you immense time and resources later. It's a real game changer.
Okay, Section 3. The CAT assessment explained. Let's demystify this tool.
So how do they actually evaluate you? They use something called the CAT, or Compliance Assessment Tool. This tool brilliantly bridges global standards with local, country-specific labor laws. It evaluates the whole shebang, from freedom of association and child labor to working time and occupational safety.
The framework itself is built in 3 tiers. It's kind of like a funnel. You start with broad clusters at the top, then move down to specific compliance points within those, and finally, exact questions that reflect your local laws. It goes from the global overarching principle right down to the specific nitty-gritty legal requirement in your specific country.
Now pay very close attention to this next part, because it's the golden rule. If you miss just one small technical question under a compliance point, that entire point is flagged as non-compliant. Yep, you heard that right. You could be doing 99% of the job perfectly, but one single missing document or one blocked aisle, and boom, it drags down that whole section of your assessment.
But hey, don't let that intimidate you. The assessment itself is actually a highly predictable 6-step journey that cycles annually. This ensures continuous improvement. From the initial registration all the way through to remediation, it's a cycle deliberately designed to help you get better year over year, not just penalize you for mistakes.
Section 4. Common compliance errors. Let's look at exactly where factories tend to stumble.
You need to check for these specific traps immediately because they're super common. We're talking about payroll discrepancies between timekeeping and actual wages, or occupational safety and health issues, like blocked fire exits or uninspected fire systems. Outdated employment contracts are another huge one. Oh, and a lack of documented management-worker dialogue, that will absolutely ruin your assessment. You have to ensure your written policies actually match the reality on the floor, especially because workers go through confidential interviews to gauge their awareness. If they say something different than your policies, it's a huge red flag.
Moving on to Section 5, Preparing for Success and Building Your Compliance Foundation.
So how do we fix all this before the assessors even arrive? By systematically working through a preparation list. Start with a pre-assessment gap analysis against the CAT framework. Standardize all your documentation and fix any physical hazards. You also need to train your line supervisors and workers for those interviews. It's all about aligning your paperwork with the physical reality on the factory floor. And engaging specialized consulting support if you need it can drastically shorten this timeline. It really takes the guesswork out of the whole preparation process.
And finally, Section 6, the business impact, or why this all actually matters to your bottom line.
The data here is crystal clear. This isn't just some annoying regulatory hoop you have to jump through. Better Work compliance directly translates to higher productivity, wider access to premium buyers in North America, the EU, and Japan, and ultimately, increased profitability. When you have better conditions, you get fewer accidents and lower staff turnover. Plus, it puts you in a much stronger negotiating position with those premium international brands. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought as you look at your factory's strategy moving forward. Is compliance just a required, annoying cost of doing business, or is it actually your biggest competitive advantage in a crowded global supply chain? Think about it. When you treat compliance as an asset rather than a burden, it literally transforms your entire business model. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I truly hope this helps you build a better, far more competitive factory. See you next time.